Hi everyone, how are you all doing? My name is Renee Grant. I am the Director for Opportunity Programs here at HWS. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised, and I've been at HWS for about 8 years in a few different roles. And this current role as the Director for the HEOP and AOP programs I've been in for about 4 years, since December 2020. I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm actually coming up on my 8-year anniversary here at HWS. I started in April of 2016, so it's really exciting. I think I just saw it on LinkedIn that my work anniversary is coming up. I was excited about it. Anyway, here today to just talk with you and really hopefully have more of a conversation with folks. I know that there is some questions that you all might have, but my goal, I prefer conversations, right? So my goal is not to sit here and talk at you for the next 20 to 30 minutes, but to really have a conversation. And I want to know what you want to know. And as you all are looking to hopefully consider HWS and be here with us in the fall semester, what is it that you want to know? What is it that you are looking for in your college process? How can we help with the questions that you have or what that might look like for you? So that's hopefully what we're here for today. All right. How about you, Zahir? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, definitely. My name is Zahir Bowen. I'm a recent graduate from Hobart William Smith as of this past May. Also, one of the assistant directors of admissions in the office here as well. I was a political science major during my time. Also got certified to teach secondary social studies through our teacher education program. And I was also what we call a student trustee on campus. So every year, two sophomores are elected to the board of trustees. You eventually become a voting member in your senior year. So definitely a very unique amount of access to change, I would say, over my college experience. I'm also from Brooklyn, New York, too, if any of you guys are from there. But I think Renee and I are here to answer any questions that you guys have. And definitely, I think as well, since I am a recent graduate, I think I could have a pretty good amount of perspective on this place for sure. But if you do just want to shout out your questions, definitely feel free. But otherwise, you can also feel free to just send them over to me, and I'll kind of pose them as the conversation flows. But yeah, I would love if anyone wants to just get us started here with any opening questions if you have them.
And it could be about anything. I know that our session today is really around belonging in HWS and what does that look like. But it really could be about anything. I know that um, I talked about the different roles that I've had here. With Zahir being a student, have been a student here. I started here at HWS in our housing and our residence life department, working through like housing and sort of just the logistics and of housing and meal plans and all those operational stuff. I then moved into the intercultural center here at HWS. Thank you. First question. So I'll get to that. And in our cultural center, as the associate director now, the director here of the HOP program. So, Sophia, thank you for kicking us off with the first question. How does HWS support POC in the PWI? So there are a lot of different ways that we do that, I would say. You've heard that it's getting better with supporting a diverse population. I would absolutely agree with that statement. So there are, so for one, we have all of our faculty staff are here to support our students. We are a relationship rich institution, and I think that our students are able to develop some really great relationships with our faculty and staff, and with each other in different ways. There are um, some affinity spaces in terms of our Adams Intercultural Center, which I am currently in, which is where the HEOP program is housed in, is also um, home to, it's what we call the home away from home for our students, right? So students come from all over, and it's a very homey space. It's autonomous space for students. It has a computer lab. It has a living room. You'll find students here between classes. They'll come, and there are programs that happen here. We have our cultural global awareness and social justice clubs, right? So that's our Black Student Union, our Latin American Student Organization, our Muslim Student Association, our Caribbean Student Association. There, the list goes on and on and on about with all the different clubs and organizations that we have that are sort of these cultural based organizations that do a lot of programming and things around campus and have meetings around campus and are supported by our Adams Intercultural Center as well as our student engagement staff. And we do have an Asian affinity group, an Asian student union as well. Absolutely. Excuse me. And as they're doing programs and things, they're being supported through not only space, but also funding through our student government, through student engagement, all those other things. So we're coming into formal season for our culture clubs right now. So we just had our Model African Union had their fashion show on Friday, which I heard was fantastic. I unfortunately wasn't able to go, but we have our extravaganza for Lasso coming up, as well as Masquerade and casino night for Black Student Union Sankofa. So we're excited about all the different ways that students are engaging, but also being supported on our campus. I don't know if there's anything to add to that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I was also kind of a part of the all of the action happening at the highest level of HWS on the board of trustees, getting belonging, diversity and equity committee like as a standing committee on the board of trustees. I think just getting to like put that into permanence here was also a pretty exciting just show of support for all of us, but definitely also just getting to experience, like Renee was talking about, the AIC, which unfortunately was being renovated / redone during my middle 2 years here. I think it's honestly, especially from when I first started to there's just been so much improvement and just a lot of support across the board. So I think that's about as much as I can add to that, I would say. But we do have a couple of other questions. One from Michael. So what's the general composition of BIPOC students who are not from New York? And what's the culture around student support who aren't as close to home?
Yeah. So I would say we over the past few years, our incoming class have been increasingly diverse. And building upon that from all different places, right? So I can speak for our HEOP program, which is based in New York and from students from New York. However, we also have our Posse program, which have students that come from LA as well as Chicago, come to HWS for the 4 years here. But also we're recruiting students from all over, right? All over the place and all over the world, right? So not just in the US, but international students as well. So there are BIPOC students that are here from literally everywhere and have different backgrounds and ethnicities and cultures and things of that nature. And I think one of the ways that we work on supporting them is just creating space for them here, and what does that look like, and ensuring that there are adequate support systems in place, whether it be through our International Student Success Coordinator, our Adams Cultural Center, our Division for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, all those different spaces and places, our faculty, our staff, like so many different support systems that are in place for our students here, but there are students from all over the world.
Yeah, and I think percentage wise, we're between 7 to 8% international students and closer to 20% domestic students of color on campus. So around 30%, I would say, generally students of color on campus.
I'm never great with the numbers, so thank you, Zahir, for the
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
Can I know more about the study abroad programs? Absolutely. So at HWS, global education is one of the foundations of our education here, right? Global education, service learning are and education and like liberal arts are sort of the pillars and that HWS is founded on. So global education is a really big piece. Over 60% of our students do study abroad in different places. We have abroad programs all over the world. You can choose an abroad program based on your course of study or your major, your minor that you're in. You can choose a program based on a location that you really wanted to go to, right? Many of our program are faculty led, which means there's a faculty member from HWS that's going with a group of students to that place to teach a class, as well as being taught by faculty members that are over there and engaging in that culture, right? And so while you are far away from our campus community and but you're still there and building a community of your own, right? You have a faculty member to support you and help advise you there, but also a group of students that are going with you, right? And then there's also our sort of exchange programs or programs that are sort of self, what's the word I'm looking here for here?
Like
So I know I have a student currently in a South
contained.
Africa
Yeah,
program, which I think is probably more an exchange program where he's there, but not necessarily with a group of students, right? And so he's navigating that, and there's tons of support that was here for him before he went to prepare him for his time over there. And that's a choice that he made, and I think that he's really excited about it. I've been connecting with him. So even as he's in South Africa now, I'm still connecting with him on a regular basis to just see how his time is going there, and he's absolutely enjoying it, right? But I was trying to just differentiate between our faculty-led programs and sort of those programs that you're in as an exchange where you're there on your own kind of thing, but you're still surrounded by the support that we have with that partner institution as well as the support here. We have short-term study abroad programs as well as semester-long programs. So our short-term programs run in the winter term and in the summer. So they're about 3 weeks, and they again range in location. I know we had about 6 of our students that just went to of our HOP students that just went to Cuba in this past winter. And I have a few that are going to Berlin this upcoming summer, which is pretty dope. So literally all over the world.
yeah, yeah. No, I can definitely talk a good amount about study abroad. I definitely, it was kind of one of the main things that brought me to HWS. I ended up going to Germany for a full semester, pretty much 6 months. Lived in this studio apartment in the foothills of the Black Forest in Freiburg, Germany, which is pretty much like where they write fairy tales. So it's just kind of ridiculously beautiful, I would say. But I think really kind of the biggest benefit to studying abroad at HWS is all of your aid travels with you as well. So it won't cost you any more than an average semester to study abroad. So it is essentially a free kind of program, like worked into the student experience here. I would say, in addition to like most of the programs being either faculty led or like kind of in partnership with another institution out there, you do get to do quite a bit while you're abroad, even outside of academics. So part of my program was going to a different European country every weekend, which was also free of cost for us. This program was political science focused too. So like pretty much finished my major while I was out there, even got to do some networking across Europe during that time. Got to sit in on some European Parliament sessions, meet some think tank folks across the continent, and even actually I got $6,000 to do some research while I was there too. I tried to make this documentary about how they teach history in Germany, and sadly COVID had some other plans for me, so I didn't get to do that as much, but it did, I think, kind of fortunately turn into a very well-funded travel blog, which as a college student, that's really nothing to complain about in any way, shape, or form. So really, this is just to say, though, that it was probably the best semester I had. A bunch of my friends were also out in Europe with me at that time in other programs across the continent. And I think getting that opportunity to kind of like connect with, your HWS community, even while you're abroad, was, I mean, second to none in a lot of ways. And there's even, I think, as kind of similar amount of support in terms of, the familial kind of feel, I think, that you get in even the places where we don't have our own faculty leading those programs. So I think definitely if you haven't thought about it, check out the catalog on our website with all the study abroad options. I literally poked around for like a few minutes and just put in like some interest areas that I had, even places, and you can like literally just list out everything that you want. And I found so many that were interesting to me, but this Germany one kind of it took the cake for sure. So I would highly recommend all of you guys kind of check out that if you have thought about it, even if you haven't at all. It's definitely something to do in college, no matter where you go, I would say.
Working on getting some staff abroad programs going because I'm ready to go. That's what
Definitely.
I want to work on next. Um, so our next question is from Nabila from Indonesia. I would like to know more about Asian people in Muslim Student Association that you have at HWS. Yeah, so we do have a very active Muslim Student Association on our campus. Our students do a lot of programs here. Currently, they have their iftar dinners and they're planning those. I think we had our iftar dinner last week, which has been great. But they just do programs throughout the year. We also have housing that is we have our Muslim Life and Culture House. So HWS has what we call small houses or theme houses on our campus. So in addition to the traditional residence halls that you might see around campus, there are also these smaller houses that range anywhere from like um 7 to 10 or to maybe 15 or to 18 students in a small house that are sharing a space and utilizing the like building their own community in that house. And one of those houses that we have on campus is our Muslim Life and Culture House that has been on campus for, I want to say, least 5 or more years.
Yeah.
It's been a consistent space on our campus for students. We also just opened and dedicated a Muslim prayer center on campus, or a Muslim life center on campus, where, especially as we're going through Ramadan and whatnot right now, students, faculty, and staff are utilizing to do their daily prayers or just to be in that space and be in community with others. So there's a lot of different ways and supports that we have here at HWS. We recently got a new Muslim life advisor on campus, Shahid, who has been fantastic and been an amazing support to our students and to the MSA on campus. They're doing a lot of really great work, so I'm excited to continue to see it happen.
I think next question is from Rodette. Can first year students apply to be an RA? And also, can you talk about clubs/groups for POC on campus? I definitely would say that RAs are limited to sophomores and above, right, Renee?
Yes, but you can apply in your first year for your
Yeah,
sophomore year. Absolutely.
yeah.
Right? And so learning about what the role might be from seeing your own CA, here at HWS, we call them community assistants, right? It's they're building the communities on the floors with you, and we have some fantastic community assistants in our pool and in our community right now. And so in the spring of your first year, you absolutely is usually when RA or CA recruitment happens. And so you can absolutely apply in your first year for your sophomore year. There's students here that become CAs in their sophomore year and stay CAs through their senior year, right? And there's so many different benefits to being a part of that community. You can be a CA in a first year housing environment or in a theme house if you're a house manager or upperclassmen spaces, apartments, etc. So you definitely can do that. And then as for the clubs and organizations, I know we talked a little bit about our culture clubs, our cultural global. I'm used to the acronym that I usually call them CGASJ. So our cultural global awareness and social justice clubs on campus, which are a wide range. We have our Sankofa, the Black Student Union, excuse me, our LASO, the Latin American Student Organization, ASU, our Asian Student Union, Model African Union for MAU, excuse me, and Caribbean Student Association. There's a long list of these clubs, right? And so there are a good number of clubs and organizations that are sort of affinity based and around culture and identity. And one of the things that I think is absolutely amazing about HWS is while we have over 90 something clubs and organizations that are here, if you don't see something here that you want to see here, there's a wonderful path and a sort of straightforward path to creating that space, that you want to see. And we have a lot of our student leaders on campus that have really taken the mantle of creating spaces that they want to see, creating clubs. I know one of our um, I speak a lot about HOP students just because I run the program, right? So one of our HOP students, when she got here as a first year student, was looking to start a wrestling club on campus, which was such an amazing thing, and got a group of students together, and they were looking for coaches and doing all the things. And so we are a space that if you don't see what you want here, let's create it, let's find ways to support it, and let's make it happen. So it really is sort of that student space, student focus space that we thrive on and that we endeavor to create here at HWS.
Yeah, and there are also a couple of theme houses kind of centered around identity. Actually, I think a few, if I can remember from this last year as well. One that I got the chance to live in during my sophomore year, CC, Cultural Connections, kind of a historically POC theme house on campus, which has been there pretty much as long as I think we've had theme houses, I would imagine, I think.
Mhm, mhm,
Um, and I mean, I think just getting the chance to kind of live in that environment was definitely something I really appreciated, just with a bunch of people, not only just from New York, but from all over the country. I think we also even had a couple international students in there with us as well that year, but that's pretty much a standing house on campus, just like the Muslim Students Association house as well. So you definitely have a good amount of options in terms of also living with some folks who you can identify with too. But, we got a question from Johan, who would like to know more about the academic and financial help through HEOP.
Yeah, absolutely. So for as you may or may not know, so HOP stands for the Higher Education Opportunity Program. It's a New York State funded program that supports students academically and financially, provides access and opportunity for students to go to college, right? And I like to say that we support students from orientation to graduation, from the start to finish. And so our students do have to both academically and financially qualify for the program. The financial requirements are set by New York State, so we sort of have to follow very strict financial guidelines for students that can qualify for the HEOP program. And in terms of the academic support, we're looking for students that are strong students that might just learn differently, right? One of the things that we know is that not everybody has the same learning style. Not everybody is like the best test taker. Not everybody thrives in the traditional sort of school environment. And so what we're looking for is those students that we can definitely see the potential in, see the work that they are capable of doing, but maybe doesn't show in the traditional way um, through their grades or test scores or things of that nature, right? And then we work with those students to ensure that they are successful, at HWS. Now, HEOP is at several different schools across the New York State. It's similar to the EOP program that you might see at SUNY schools. And excuse me. So our students have to go through a mandatory 5-week summer program before their first year. So upon enrollment, their program runs for the all of July and like the first week of August. And so our program this year is starting on June 30th. And during that program, you're taking 3 classes for course credit. But we're also teaching you different ways for study skills, but also what is the college environment going to be like? You're taking credited courses that are like college level courses with faculty members that are dedicated to you, right? Our HLP class every year is usually pretty small, from 20 to 30 students, right? And so you have faculty members that are just focusing on this small group of 20 to 30 students for this 5-week program. And it's such a wonderful experience to be able to have that dedicated support within our summer program. And the support doesn't end there, right? And so once students finish the summer program and are matriculated and enrolled into HWS, we continue to have academic supports in place, whether that be through study halls, providing tutoring, ensuring that students, and this is a part of that happens in the summer program, is that ensuring that students know where to go, what they need, right? I'm a big person on closed mouths don't get fed. You need to ask for the things that you need. Right. And so I'm a big part, what our summer program does is teaches students how to get the things that they need, how to navigate the college environment, right? Because it can be daunting. It can be overwhelming. There's so many different pieces and places. And okay, I have this issue, but I need to go to this person, or that's my advisor, but I have an advisor, but what about my dean? Okay, so if I need to go to my dean, okay, do I need to go to my so there's so many different pieces, right? And it's built that way because we want to make sure that you have a well-rounded support system. But there's always someone here to help with that navigation. So what we do with HOP is help our students navigate where they need to go for different things. Okay, if you have an issue with your bill, you need to go to student accounts. But if it's with your financially, like financially is a different office, how can we help you with that? Now, and what your dean is here for is to, help with those things as well, but also like navigate your faculty members. There are times that that might be difficult for someone, right? Knowing how to engage with faculty members, right? Because we encourage our students to talk to our faculty, build relationships with your professors. It's so incredibly important, right? To build relationships with your professors. And sometimes that, again, can be daunting when you're sitting in a class of whether it be 10, 15, or 20 students, and you have a question or you want to talk to the professor, you not necessarily know how to engage in that, right? So not only can HOP help with that for HOP students, but also the dean's office or your faculty advisor. Every student is assigned a faculty advisor who is their FSEM instructor, their first year seminar instructor on their first semester, right? Until you declare your major, that's your faculty advisor. And then you have the choice of, you choose somebody that's in that major to be your advisor once you declare. Um, as for the financial piece, so all of our HOP students are full need packaged. So what that means is some of our HOP students are some of our highest needed students on campus, right? So the financial aid package is encompassing scholarships, grants, um, and it does come with a small bit of loans, but it is heavily supported by scholarships and grants, right? From New York State, federal scholarships and grants and things of that nature. So we work with students to ensure that they have their full financial aid package, right? And so then whatever that costs, and work study, that's the other piece that I was talking about, right? Work study being a part of that financial aid package from your sophomore year on. And so we just make sure that our students have all the things that they need to be successful here and that the cost of school is not a barrier to completing your education.
Is there anything else folks are curious about?
Sorry, that was
Definitely
a lot.
plenty I could speak to as a recent graduate for sure.
No problem. Looking forward to having you here too, Johan. Johan. Is it Johan or Johan? Sorry, I'm like really particular about names.
Hi, hello, it's Johan.
Johan. Nice.
Uh,
Hello.
Like names. Any other questions? Any other things?
Michael asked about track and field, what options will be available to participate in with sports? So I can definitely talk a bit about that for sure. We have 30 varsity sports at HWS, but also a whole host of intramural and club sports as well. So if you didn't want to do it at the varsity level, then you definitely have plenty of those options after school, after class ends, sorry. But I myself did club soccer for most of my time at HWS. A lot of fun, I think, especially if you're not looking to do it at a varsity level, just to like still have the opportunity to. And I would say for the most part, both intramurals or IMs and club sports, like they really do get a lot of kids. So they're usually, I would say, about as competitive as it gets in terms of like really playing the sports as well. But we don't unfortunately have a track and field team. We do, however, have cross country. So if you were interested in that, I would definitely recommend reaching out to the coach if you haven't. Anything else folks are curious about? I think anything that hasn't been mentioned that's important to know. I would just say, I think our First Gen Institute, would you mind talking a little bit about that, Renee?
Yeah. So the FGI, First Gen Institute, has been around also for a very long time. It's a space that's really dedicated to, again, the success of our first generation students. What's the best argument for attending HWS? Oh, that one question too. That's a good question. Um, they help with that navigating students, right? And so whether it be navigating classes, professors, where to go for things, but also providing space for first generation students. There's a great affinity in our first generation students. And I think not only in ours, but in a lot of them all over the country, all over the world, right? It's sort of this badge of honor, badge to be a first generation student, right? And being successful at that, right? But being successful as a first generation student comes with work. And we understand that. And so the FGI Center, the FGI Center aims to support students through the navigating of the college experience, understanding that there are acronyms and definitions and things that I call it college speak, right? Or things that, we spew out there and it can go over our head sometimes, right? I know it certainly did for me when I was a student. And so FGI really helps to navigate and understand what the college environment looks like and help support them, because it can also be very lonely, right? If you're a first generation student, if you don't have folks at home that sort of know what you're going through, know what you're dealing with, know how to best support you with the different changes and challenges that you're encountering here in a college setting, that can be very isolating and lonely. But there are folks here that get it and that know and that are dealing with very similar and same things, right? And so a lot of that is what our first generation initiative works to combat and to help support.
Yeah, and I would say it's about a quarter of the students on campus are first gen, right?
About so, yeah.
Yeah.
They have in their dedicated center, they have textbooks and things. So you might be taking a class, but you might have a student before that took the class already, right? They have textbooks there that student used that our FGI students can have access to, or even just a different space on campus to be in, right? So a dedicated space that is just for first gen students. So it's really awesome.
And I think I can start off answering the best argument for attending HWS question a little bit here as well. I mean, I think definitely if you're the kind of person who kind of likes to have their hands in a little bit of everything, definitely, a kind of multi-interested person, I would say generally is the kind of person who thrives at HWS. Also, I think for me, it was definitely a kind of a combination of the resources and especially the alumni as well. So, I mean, just in 4 years, I think all of what I was able to do, found my own college prep program during my sophomore year, study abroad, almost opened my own restaurant last year through our annual business competition called The Pitch. Be on the board of trustees, all of these things I think weren't really things I was expecting to do in my college experience, much less I think, have it be so accessible to do all of those things as well. So I think just especially for the resources, that was one of the biggest reasons that I came to HWS, kind of like Renee said before, right? You have to kind of advocate for yourself. That's like part of, growing in college. And here, especially, like you get a lot of that through the mentorship, but also then it kind of, takes a little bit of a, your own individual path after you start to really feel that agency. And it's really just about asking, different questions to all the various folks on campus who have, their own little pockets of support. And just through that, you will find exactly the resources you're looking for, or if not exactly those resources, definitely something very close, I would say. And then especially our alumni too, over 6,000 active alums in the network that Career Services has access to, and having gotten to meet, I think probably about maybe close to 600 of them at this point, both through career treks and them coming back to campus as well. I think you really do have a very like backbreakingly dedicated, I would say, kind of group of folks trying to really get you where you want to go. My experience trying to open that restaurant last year through our business competition called The Pitch was really just incredible. But I think to highlight especially the alumni piece, it was like a week before the finals, and you get an alumni coach to like kind of, really make this business plan professional and, real and implementable. And mine actually still lives in Geneva. He owns one of the wine stores in town, also has a speakeasy below it, but it was a week before the finals, and he was like, you're so close. I feel like we just need something to get you to that next level to possibly win this whole thing. And he eventually offered me co-ownership of his winery, which is really just, I think, an insane thing to happen to a college student. That doesn't happen to pretty much anyone, I would say. And so I think if that gives you any sort of an idea of like just the spirit within our alumni community, I mean, it is really incredible to just be a part of that, especially myself now as a recent graduate. And you do get to meet alums, both recently graduate like myself, ones who are kind of like in the midst of, the height of their career pathways and whatnot. And then also a ton as well who are closer to, retirement and things like that. So you not only get, the know-how of like what it's like to apply into this new job market, but you also get, the different pathways that our, former alums have gotten as well. And even more so, I think their resources too, which Career Services does a great job of kind of, directing you towards. But also, I think they do a really great job of pushing your boundaries in terms of, where you might think you would end up as well. I mean, the guaranteed internship funding that we have, $3,000 for all students to use on unpaid or underpaid opportunities. That is, I think, an incredible resource that I would say just about every student uses at one point or another here. And that's, I mean, really for either something you're looking to do professionally, but it could also be a passion project, right? There, like I said, Career Services wants you to, really make this place your own. That funding is also a part of that journey as well. And I think outside of that, really just the campus community as a whole, I definitely found so many people that will forever be a part of my life in these last 4.5 years. And I think, there's few better places to kind of really dive into yourself, but also find a little family over the course of a 4-year college experience.
Absolutely. I would second all of that, for sure. And I would say, really just the space to explore yourself and your interests, right? Whatever that may be. I think HWS is a beautiful place to figure it out, right? I truly believe that the college environment in general is for figuring out who you are, what you want to do, right? Or just like who you want to be in this world. And it's a great developmental place for that, but also just exploring the interests, right? It truly is amazing liberal arts education. If you know what you want to do and you have a focus area that you want to focus on, great, right? But we have so many passions and we're not monolithic people, right? And we have interests and passions and things that, get us up every day or that we enjoy doing. And what I love about HWS is the opportunity to explore that, right? And be your whole selves, right? I have a student now that is architecture major, but minoring in bio and studio art, right? Learning all the different things and what are the ways that those things sort of can work together, but also the amazing education that you're getting in all of those different spaces, right? And the differences that you're seeing in there. is just really, really fantastic, right? And so I think that's one of the biggest pluses, I think, personally, that I see to HWS, as well as in being able to engage one-on-one with people that are here to support you, with our faculty, with our staff, with fellow students. There's so many different opportunities for engagement and for connection and for mentorship at our alumni and all of those things. There are, to answer the next question, yes, there are plenty of job opportunities on campus. Almost every office on campus does have at least like a student worker for something, right? And so a lot of our jobs are posted through Handshake, which is managed by our Career Services Office, or on the Human Resources website for student job opportunities, right? And so we want to make sure that students are getting that experiential education. And a part of that is being in an on-campus job. I know for me, my on-campus job when I was in undergrad is what led to the career that I'm in now. I was started as a mailroom in the housing department at my undergrad, and moved in through that, right? Through doing housing and residence life and just understanding that working with college students was a pathway for me and has been a fantastic pathway so far. And so there are just so many opportunities for engaging that we have here, right? Whether it be in playing or academic or social or athletic, whatever that is. So, you got it.
Yeah, I also kind of ended up working in admissions through my on-campus job. I was an intern in the office last year and even made my own job with that college prep program during my sophomore year as well. So like not only are there plenty of jobs on campus, but you might even have the chance to make one yourself as well. Yeah. Anything else we can answer for folks? A question does pop up while we're closing out here. We'll definitely answer it. But otherwise, I hope all of you definitely got all the info you were hoping to get tonight. Please feel free to reach out. I'll put my email down here in the chat. I'm really happy to meet with any of you guys individually as well if you want to. But I would just say, yeah, I hope the rest of the college process goes well for you guys. And yeah, good luck with this big decisions. You can find the recording on YouTube. It'll be on the HWS channel in a little playlist called Virtual Sessions.